Hi, I'm Robert Dakota with Worldviews Media, and we're here in Indian Gardens, one of our favorite eateries. We're here with David Sheldon of Road to Ruins and Clifford Mahooty. And I just wanted to give you a chance to, ask some more questions to Cliff, if you have some, David.
I've got more questions than we have time for Cliff.
Well, let's try to keep it condensed if we can.
Well, that's why I'm going to have to come to the conference.
Yeah, absolutely.
I'm looking forward to seeing you speak. I'm always honored to be in Clifford's presence. And,
Thank you.
Thank you. And, I'm enamored with oral tradition because it's something that, as someone who is socialized through Western culture, I was not availed to. And I'm coming to that point in my life where I'm becoming availed to it, and it's fascinating. And I feel like I'm finally getting an education. After all these years of wasting my time in school. I feel like I'm finally actually learning something that's valid and true and real, and it means a lot to me, and I'm very grateful to you for being willing to speak at these things and being willing to share, because I think it's really important to where we are right now as humanity.
Well, one of the things that I find is that a lot of including myself, because I went through that in the scientific engineering world, a lot of this stuff that I barely understood. But when I looked at it from the mirror effect of what our civilizations had gone through for centuries, it's sort of the mirror effect on those became more clear than if I did not have that background. When you talk about very high order science, and when you talk about planets, when you talk about mathematics, we, or the native indigenous people, knew about those things, but they just didn't have a book on it. That's what I'm presenting this weekend. It's called Sacred Geometry and Laying Out Their Networks and also their buildings. It's based upon systems like the star system, including the ones inside the planet itself, and also external things. For example, like all the different civilizations. So it's a continuing process. I have never gotten out of the classroom. And so and I think that more people are becoming aware that there is something that the indigenous tribes have.
Yes.
Where they're the Dogons, where they're the Pueblo Indians, the Mayans, even our brothers and sisters in the ocean, they also have those knowledge. Whether you're in New Zealand, they talk the same way that I am. I'm heading out to South America because they say that they told me, or when they is those people that have been there, you said that you ought to go there because the concepts that you have and the way that you relate things are the same way that the Mayans, the Incas. I said, well, did you know that there are brothers that went south? And they kind of look at me and I said, yeah, but then later on, we start going back and forth. And that's where a lot of these maps with recent developments like the satellites, now find it out. So.
Well, and these cultural connections you're mentioning go a lot further than just Central and South America. There's connections with ancient Egypt, and Dogon, like you mentioned. That's fascinating, and that's something that we're not availed to growing up in school.
Well, one of my research come up with, because we knew about the Pueblo people, knew about the Egyptians and the Buddhists, because they were all in the Grand Canyon. If you look at Kincaid expedition in 1908, it talks about those treasures that were here. If you look at the designated landmarks within the Grand Canyon, you can see they're all Egyptian.
That's right.
Why? Is that somebody dreamed that up? No. And so one of the things that I learned in about a couple of years ago was that the head of or at least like the commander-in-chief of the Kachina people actually was in Egypt with the first pharaoh. I can't recall his name right offhand, but
Okay.
and he had the same name in Egypt as we have over here in Zuni Pueblo.
No kidding.
And his name was Pautiwa. He was the same name over there, but he was equal rank when they were both priests. And so when you look at things like this, I said, this is no accident.
Right.
It is just coming out. As we all know, there's going to be a lot of disclosure, not from the government,
Right.
but from other forces that we don't know for sure yet who they really are.
Well, it's an interesting time, and I think the sense that I get is that a lot of the indigenous cultures see this as a time of great change for the earth and humanity. Is that fair to say from the Zuni perspective?
Well, yes, it has never deviated from the original schedule. If you look at the Hopi, because the Hopi were very famous for putting out the first warnings, even with the League of Nations, when they told them don't mess with atomic energy,
Right.
this is what's going to happen. And
Didn't listen.
no, they didn't listen. They didn't even allow them to talk.
Right.
And they told them this is what's going to happen. They told them about the network, the web system for the communication system all over the world. They told them about the railroad system way before nobody ever knew about it. But they didn't listen to them. The Zuni, along with the Hopi, are of the same group in terms of their thinking and their spirituality. So when they talked about, okay, here's a good example. This is dark water. The Zunis talk about do not drink dark water, because when you drink dark water, you will become crazy and you will hurt each other, you will kill each other. And so when the Spanish brought chocolate and coffee back in the 1600s, they did not touch it, because they already knew that if you drink dark liquid, that you're going to go crazy. Well, this went on, and finally, I guess they took a chance at it, and nothing happened. It's only within about the 20th century that they found out that alcohol was the dark water. And look what happened. This destroyed nations. The Indian nations were destroyed by alcohol. One of them. They had survived in famines. They had survived in earthquakes. But look at where we're at right now. Every nation is so messed up with alcohol and drugs, and the latest thing is casinos.
Right.
They also know about that. All I'm doing is that I'm just telling information what I was taught. It's so varied, like you say, it's so varied. It's just like I used to play a game with people. I said, pick a subject we're going to talk about. And this is where sometimes I get off on a tangent because I start talking. I asked Robert, they said, when I do that, just start going like this. Because
those are fun tangents, though. They're great to go off on.
well, sometimes they ask me, I say, well, can I buy a book about this? I said, the book is still in there.
Right.
People gave up on me about the books.
Well, it's a good thing. You got to come watch him speak. I mean, that's the joy in that. Get the oral tradition yourself. And that's, I think, one of the mistakes I was going to speak to earlier is the fact that I think a lot of people look at the generalizations that are made. We spoke about the authors that make mistakes when they go out and try to study a group of people. And you can't do that because there are clans, societies, medicine societies, factories, and they all have very different specific
absolutely.
Practices and traditions and histories.
And different god systems from different planets or constellations. Well, one of the things that in this type of teachings is that when these people write about, the first thing I do when I go to a book is that I don't look at the cover or forward or anything. You know what I do? I go back like this and I look at the bibliography.
There you go.
And these are all, I know some of the people in there, they said, all you're doing is that you're just copying. That's why I call them copywriters.
Yeah. That's good.
And so it's, and that if you, some Indian man told me one time when I was working with other tribes, he said he sat there for a long time, and he said, well, he said, Mr. Mahooty, do you know how to spell history? I said, yeah. So I said that, no, that's not the way it's spelled. It's Hisstory. It's his story, not our story.
That's good.
So this has been, it's been true. I mean, I've encountered that many, many times. I've even seen mistakes in books. Why didn't they go back and research it before they put it on there? Because they assume that some of us that are still ancient, oriented people are not don't know how to read, I guess.
Right.
So anyway, that's fun. It's going to be a fun trip.
Well, I'm just thankful that you're going to be speaking at this conference and availing more people to the knowledge. I think it's important. You know, during this time of great change, we need to focus on what's real and what's right. I think we've gotten strayed so off on a tangent. We're not taking care of each other or the earth in the least. And this lifestyle has an expiration date, does it not?
Oh, absolutely. Well, you know, the 12-12 group, they say it's going to be the end of the world. The world has ended many, many times. According to the Zuna and the Hoka, this is the fourth world. We ruined and they destroyed the previous three because of what we're going through right now. History repeats itself. You're talking about greed, you're talking about hating each other, you're talking about wars. That's why they destroyed. Now other scientists, they say, well, they had to get rid of the giants that the Anunnaki made over here, and they had to get rid of the dinosaurs. That might be true, but I think it's because the people themselves did not follow the protocols set forth in the beginning of the Earth people. What is it? Scientists say that the Earth is billions and billions of years old. So if you look at it from the standpoint, we're just a speck, a flash in timeline. But what we have learned from the past, we do not apply it. So we forgot again. Simple as that.
And we've seemed to have lost complete track of what our original task was to be on this planet.
Mm-hmm.
You know, it's certainly not, in my opinion, not to sit in an office for 10 hours a day so some guy can buy a yacht.
No.
No, it seems that our purpose was to be stewards. Is that accurate?
That is absolutely true. There's only, we're, the American Indian community at large know that we are the keepers of the planet. We also are the keepers of each other, protectors within family structure. That's basically the two things. How simple can you get?
Yeah.
Take care of each other, take care of the planet, and everything comes into play.
That's right.
If you had a good system of people, you take, for example, this land here, everybody goes into a division of labor. They can have more times for learning. It's a community effort. And the other thing too, which there's a disconnect with a lot of people's thinkings, is that somebody else is in charge. The humans are not in charge. And they can talk about these other groups like the what do you call it, the Illuminati and all this other, those are created by man. The true people are the ones that control the universe. And all we're doing is we're supposed to follow the systems that they gave us thousands of years ago, but we forgot about it. And that's where greed comes in. Well, and now I know the knowledge of the ancient ones, I'm going to hold it to myself because knowledge is power. And this is what destroyed a lot of Indian nations. So there's so many. You can write 10 books on it just on greed.
Oh yeah. Well, let's get rid of it. Learn how to live right.
Yeah.
Step one is education and
Yep.
learning from folks like Clifford who are willing to share. Robert, thank you for putting this event on, and Clifford, thank you so much for speaking at it. I can't wait to see you.
Looking forward to it.
Excellent. Thank you.
Thank you. Elahqua.
Thank you.
Thank
Quack,
you,
quack.
David.
Elahqua.
Thank you, Cliff. Quack, quack.
Quack.
Okay, guys, May 26th to 28th, Cosmic Origins. Hope to see you there. It's going to be in Sedona at the Creative Life Center. You're going to see Clifford Mahooty and a lot of others, and look forward to seeing you in Sedona. Thank you.
Be there.
Be there or be square.
That's right.